The one thing that's a commonality, no matter where you go, is that, sickness doesn't care about where you are, whether you're in Midland, Texas, New York City, and you yourself went through sickness. Can you kind of talk us through where things started? Because I know you like to play sports. You seem like a healthy young guy. What happened? Where was the issue that made you start to see, hey, something's wrong with my health?
Yeah, I would say probably in the summer of 2021, I started to feel really tired all the time. And that was, I didn't really think it was a symptom. I just kind of, it was abnormal. And I was like, maybe I'm just getting older and maybe it's a testosterone thing. And,
Mhm.
probably 2 months out of after that, I ended up in the ER one night because, my chest was hurting, my left arm went numb, and my left toes went numb. And you do a quick Google search, and you're having a heart attack. So I went to the
Yeah.
ER that night, and I was told it was a panic attack,
Hmm.
and they sent me home, which was really bizarre. I'm athletic and play golf all the time and work out and have never had any kind of heart issues or chest pains or anything like that. So I went home and just, kind of was like, man, that was really bizarre. And I didn't think it had anything to do with, being tired, which was ended up being related.
Mm.
But that happened, and about 6 months went by. And I was still tired, but January of 2022 is when I ended up in the ER again with the same problem, and I was told again, you're having anxiety. So I from there I probably went 3 or 4 more times, same diagnosis, and I ended up going to my general practitioner and telling her, kind of what was going on, and she prescribed me a Xanax, and
Mm.
she said, if you ever feel this coming, just take them. And I bet another month went by where, I really didn't have any symptoms at all. And then I went to play a golf tournament with my dad in California, and I I got the same symptoms, which I never truly believed that it was anxiety, so I never wanted to take the Xanax or any of the drugs. But when I was out there, I was like, I guess this really is anxiety. We're about to play in a big golf tournament, whatever. And I ended up taking one, and then the I had a horrible time that night. I was hallucinating, hearing things, couldn't sleep, couldn't relax, and ended up having to play golf the next day. And I felt the same way playing golf, but that's when it took a turn for the worst. Was about April of 2022, um, and then in May is when I started getting really dizzy. I was basically living my life dizzy with a chronic migraine, and a multitude of other symptoms, but the ones that really started to bother me then when was I was real sensitive to noise,
Mm.
which was, like every noise that was made in my house or anywhere it felt like it was rattling my brain, really. It was painful. And that's when I was like, something has to be wrong. And then I went back to the doctor, and she told me, I think you just have really bad anxiety now. And in my heart, I knew that something else was going on. So, I think she tried to prescribe me Prozac or some antidepressant medicine, and which I didn't take because, I truly felt that something else was wrong. And, from then things just, things got really bad. I started having really bad intrusive thoughts, and I lost my memory. I couldn't remember what I did the morning, before, or what I had for breakfast, or, just anything like that. So my family life started suffering, and that was, coming to the end of May when I really started searching, trying to, find answers. And I ended up at a functional medicine clinic. Um, I, I got put on some supplements for candida and like gabapentin to relax me a little bit, but nothing seemed to work. I did that for 2 months, a couple more hospital visits. And that's really all the answers I ever got was, you just have anxiety. I went to an eye doctor because maybe that was making me dizzy, and then an ear doctor for my ears, noise sensitivity. And but everything's fine. All your blood works great. You're healthy. You have anxiety and depression. And I kind of refused to believe that, so I kept digging, and then I think about July, I finally told myself, I was like, I have to do something. I can't, live like this. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't hang out with my kids. I couldn't do anything. And, I said, I have to do something about this. And I found a place called Amen Clinics. I'm sure you've heard of it, which is, they want to scan your brain before they put you on any kind of psychiatric drugs, to see if those drugs will work for you, and do some different tests that they ran. And, luckily they scanned my brain and they said, you don't show any type of, brain function that would indicate that you have any kind of bipolar disorder or depression or anxiety. I think you just need to change your diet and, take a couple of these different supplements. So I started doing that, and nothing seemed to work. And that's, there was another patient y'all had, Cole. His mom and my mom are really good friends, and his mom reached out. By this time, small town, everyone's kind of heard, what's happened to Cameron. He hasn't been to dinner. He hasn't done anything, no parties, nothing. And she reached out to my mom and said he needs to get tested for Lyme disease. And I think that was in late July. And so I went and had a Lyme test, which was I did a Western blot and an antibody test, and they both come back negative. So, but I had 2 bands on the Western blot, and then 69% antibodies, and you have to have 70% for the CDC to say you're positive for Lyme disease. And so I called my mom and told her, and she said, well, there's a girl here you need to reach out to. She might know a little bit more. And it ended up being Heather. And I called her in October and talked to her for probably 45 minutes, told her all my symptoms, what was going on, how I felt. And she was like, I'm pretty certain you have Lyme disease. You need to get an IGenics test to confirm. And I have a great spot for you to go. You don't need to go anywhere else. And that's how I ended up at NYCIM in January, because I was going to go to Mayo. I was trying to figure out how to get into Mayo before I knew I had Lyme disease, just to find out what was going on. And then after I spoke with her, I got meningitis. I had a 105-degree fever. And I was reluctant to go to the hospital because I was like, they're just going to tell me I have anxiety again, But I ended up going, and, all the tests, you don't have any illness right now. You just have a 105-degree fever. I was like, something's wrong. And they go, well, we can do a spinal tap and see if you have meningitis. And that's what it was. So I was in the hospital for 8 days with meningitis. And then I got out, and that's when I scheduled to come see you guys.
It's always interesting to hear different stories because, we think of medical science as advanced as it is, as a precision type science where we know things. But, I hear this and it's just like anxiety, right? You keep going back and in your heart it's not. But doctors, unfortunately, especially in the conventional realm, limited tools for testing certain things, even like you said, Western blots, all these things are not very accurate. You could get false positives, negatives, and everything. And then you just continue to suffer as people just say, pop this pill, like just do this, take an anti-anxiety, take the Xanax, Prozac, whatever it is. and just keep going. And, if you end up back here, we'll raise the levels or something or do that. But it's not precise at all. It's shooting darts in the dark,
It re-
and even that you're shooting on this like board that's kind of, let's guess and say it's anxiety. It's not like, anything specific. A diagnosis alone is very broad scope. So I
right.
always feel really bad for people that need to suffer for a long time and deal with that, because in some ways they're also meant, it also questions, is it that, like, what is wrong with me? They're saying it's this, I don't feel it's this, but maybe it is this, right? Did you ever have that doubt to where you were in a sense saying, maybe this really is anxiety and my gut instinct is off?
Right.